Before I tell you about this crazy new development with the FBI, I want to address the topic of toxic masculinity for a moment. You see, it has become very untenable or unpleasant for anybody to express any sort of masculinity in our society. And what I mean by that is for someone to be assertive or confident or bold, because that might offend somebody. It might be... it might hurt their feelings. And so we don't want men to be men. Now, this is funny to me because whether you believe in creation or evolution, mankind, men are born with and have testosterone flowing through their bodies, which is a very aggressive chemical. Now, with that, you take the mildest mannered social creature you can think of. We're talking about a guy that's just socially awkward because he never gets out in society. And he has the whitest skin because the light of day never touches him. And he's got the softest hands because he doesn't work. And so you take this very soft-spoken guy and put him on a game system playing online where he's playing a first-person shooter game, and you will all of a sudden find somebody that's incredibly confident. He'll be slinging insults at other people, and he'll be destroying everybody with his incredibly aggressive playing style. Just because we suppress these things do not mean they go away. But you need to understand that the toxic masculinity that God has actually placed into us is there for a couple of reasons, and two predominant reasons are to keep bad ideas and bad men in check. Now think about this. Let's say you've got a group of 12 guys and they are discussing, how to accomplish something or how to go about something. And one of the guys is just dumb. He's just stupid. And so he comes up with a really lame idea on how to accomplish something. All the guys around him are like, dude, that was dumb. That was really stupid. If they're bold, if they're assertive, if they're confident, I don't think so, not at all. So you can see how assertiveness would keep bad ideas in check pretty simply. But can assertiveness keep bad men in check? Absolutely. If you are not familiar, if you haven't actually gone out and circulated with real people, maybe you've only circulated online, maybe you're not aware of this, but there are people out there that are what I would call evil authoritarians, or those that are in control or seeking to be in control of more and more power or more and more people. And these individuals actually exist. Now, you will see them, again, back to our group of 12 guys, you will see some of these people that are kind of wicked and nefarious that not only do they have bad ideas, but they want to be in control. And a lot of times you'll see them pop up and try to take control. And you'll see other people push back against them if the group is assertive. And they'll be like, no, you can't have control. You don't know enough about this. Or, no, you haven't proven yourself to be a good leader. Or, no, I saw how you abused that other person over there. So, no, you're not going to abuse this group. That's if the men are assertive and bold. But as a culture, we are pushing back on letting our men be men. And even the idea, the concept, the words, the ideology of toxic masculinity, like, oh, are we supposed to be scared? Are we not supposed to be assertive? Are we not supposed to be aggressive? Are we supposed to be more respectful? And so as people become more mild-mannered, they actually let the evil authoritarians run wild. And if you want to think about this for a second, back up and think back to grade school and think beyond that and think back into, kindergarten and whatnot. Do you not realize there are liars and manipulators? For whatever reason, there are those that just want to lie about other people, who want to control things, who want to manipulate others. Now, some of us are smart enough to be able to identify them and we don't get pulled into that trap. And there's others of us that get abused by these people all the time. But if you've been alive for 20 minutes, hopefully you can see that there are real manipulators in life. And when you go to school, you actually go through school to get an education of your mind, but not necessarily your character. And so these little manipulators grow up to be big manipulators. And these people are not always, but these are the kinds that like seek the favor of the teacher, not for the sake of actually helping the teacher, not because they enjoy the position, but there are some that seek the favor of the teacher just so they have an edge on everybody else. These are the kind of people that I'm speaking of. And these are also the people that they might not have been great at sports, or maybe they didn't look the best, or maybe they do. But we're talking about people that are life competitors. So a lot of times you will see those that are competitive in sports, and they feel good about themselves because they're good competitors, or they have improved, or they've learned about teamwork, etc. And there's other people that, they don't excel in those areas. And so they actually try to excel at life by taking unfair advantage. So like back to the sports analogy, you see there are some people that are not that great at sports, and so they cheat to win, or they cheat because they're nefarious and evil on the inside. Please see that if people will cheat at sports, they will go over and cheat at life. These same people that manipulated and lied and cheated and got advantage when they were little do the same thing as adults. And so these people gravitate towards power structures. If there is a power structure in place, they like to excel at it, because when they excel at it, it shows you who they are, that they are superior. One of the reasons they do this is to help build their self-esteem. Now, we need power structures in life. We need leaders. We need people that are better at things than others. But what we don't need is people with really low self-esteem building themselves up in power structures. But you have this. I'll give the Boy Scouts as an example. There are some people that went through Boy Scouts because, it helped improve them as a person. There are others that went through Boy Scouts to all the way to be an Eagle Scout so that they could prove they were better than you. And it is those type of people also that are gravitate possibly towards the military. They gravitate towards government. They gravitate towards laid out business structures, towards academic structures. And we have to be careful about letting these people that they're not really concerned about serving the public. They're not concerned about bettering the institution. All they care about is grabbing more and more power. And they are, again, evil authoritarians. Now, think about this for a moment. It is becoming known that the FBI is doing things akin to the KGB in communist Russia, or the Secret Service that was under Hitler. Both of these power structures of this class that came into power, this very oppressive power class that was opposed not only to religion, but to a people. Like, you got to understand that communism is very oppressive towards its people. And if you don't believe, you believe that if you escaped here to America, like you believe that very well. But if you're here in America, a lot of times you're always looking for, something better. Like, instead of improving myself or those around me, maybe it's the government's fault. So maybe we need a different type of government. Maybe we need communism. We'll actually do some historical research on this. So the communist governments are very oppressive. And when Hitler was in Germany as a Nazi leader, they were very oppressive, not just against people, but it actually began to overflow into his ranks. And even the people in his ranks couldn't disagree with him, or they were fearful of their life, which is the same thing you find in these other communist countries. And so the most wicked people that are the heaviest authoritarian power seekers tend to kind of gravitate to the top. Those that are willing to do the darkest deeds to create or instill fear in others, they kind of gravitate towards the top. And I think that might be where we're headed with the FBI, or this seems to be the overflow idea. Now, think about this for a second. The FBI just recently, according to a podcast that I saw with Glenn Beck on YouTube, I don't guess that's called a podcast, but a YouTube video. So Glenn Beck shares that the FBI went and arrested this father of 11. Now, as soon as I start hearing about the father of 11, like, if he was a terrorist, maybe I could understand, like, yeah, okay, terrorist, maybe he's got a lot of kids and he's a terrorist. But like when it's an American citizen that's, doesn't have any kind of previous criminal record history, like, why in the world is the FBI going to arrest him? And as it turns out, this guy was a facilitator, or was facilitating a protest against an abortion clinic. And he actually had called in and made sure that nothing they were doing was illegal. They wanted to do things by the books. They wanted to do things right, as, Christians and religious people want to do. And they're actually protesting, the murder of innocent people. And as it turns out, this man didn't even go to the protest. He just did the phone call for it. And then here, out of the blue, no one had contacted him previous, etc. Out of the blue, the FBI show up, guns blazing, in force, and they're going to arrest him on the front door of his house before he takes his kids to school. Now, the reason how this is bullying is because of the fact that if you really got that kind of power, if you're really that credentialed and you got the right of law behind you, you can show up by yourself, or you can show up with two guys, and you can scare the crap out of somebody that's evil by just interviewing them. Saying, hey, we're checking on you. We know what you've done. That would terrify a person that was doing wrong, like if they had something nefarious in the closet. But, when you're protesting an abortion clinic, you're not doing wrong. You've got good things on your mind, like life. And so that's not the way then you intimidate good people. You have to intimidate good people by force, by mystery, by surprise attack, by not giving the information, which I guess is back to mystery. But so they arrest this guy. And then again, the reason I know it's bullying is because instead of interviewing them, they arrest him and then take him off to a facility. And instead of even giving him the common courtesy of driving him home or making provisions for him, which I could see like most, police forces doing, we're like, oh, hey, we see that you're not up to anything. We'll just make you a ride back to the house. Especially if the guy's cooperative. And obviously he's very cooperative. He's a father of 11. He's a Christian. He's protesting an abortion clinic. Like, he's only thinking about good things. He's probably only kind to those who arrested him. But, they drop him off, kick him out of the facility. From what I understand, 60 miles away, not even a cell phone. He doesn't even have his wallet on him or anything because he was arrested spur of the moment. And I understand arresting evil people spur of the moment, but now you're the evil target. Now you see how this is beginning to be bullying, like the KGB or the secret police would be, would do. Now let's say this. Let's just make this the case, okay? Here I am making a video about it. What keeps me from being targeted now? You're watching the video. What keeps you from being targeted? What they want to do is instill fear. Because you see, weak, mamby-pamby men, they're not going to step up. Now, I want you to think about the weak people that are involved in all of this. What foot soldier in the FBI woke up that day and agreed to go arrest random people? Like, all right, do you think they don't get any kind of prepping on who they're going to arrest? Like this guy is like super dangerous, and, he's been seen traveling in and out of the country, and we have observed him with hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash. And no, what they're going to say is like, this guy has just had a backyard barbecue, and, he goes to church every week. And so we should probably be very scared of him. So I want you to be on your P's and Q's to arrest him. Like, what foot soldier, I don't know who the backup guy is. I don't know who the driver is. But whoever the last line of defense here, who was the first soldiers on the line, the people that go knocking the doors, the backup even, like, how mamby-pamby of them to go, hey, this is okay. Like, yeah, I think we should go do this. Yeah, let's go do this. Is that masculine? No, that's weak. Why didn't they say no? Like, no, I don't want to be a part of this. What am I going to be arrested now? I'm afraid of being arrested. Or probably more what it's like is like this will be a bad spot against you. This will be a dark spot against you. You might lose your career in the FBI. Are there some things not worth losing our careers over? Or what about, you're going to lose your job. Like you're just absolutely going to lose your job. Like these things, fear. Well, I think also, how weak and mamby-pamby was the field officer who presided over this? Like who was the team leader on this? Who was that guy? Was that an upstanding citizen, just out there doing his job? Like, I'm just going to go out here and arrest a Christian family man. Like, because those Christians, they're so wicked and evil. They're trying to block, people from killing their babies. And now we just can't have that in the U.S. Like, really? Is this what it's boiled down to? Is this where we've gotten to? When are you going to take a stand? Like this field officer, why didn't he say, this is not what we want to be a part of, man? Is there nobody in his family that's Christian? Is everybody in his family pro-choice? Maybe we've selected down to that. Maybe the FBI are the KGB and the SS at this point. We don't know. But what about the little sniveling, egotistical, power-tripping entity that little man or woman that gets their kicks off of control? Like, who was this that was investigating it? Why didn't they say no? Who is it back there is pulling the strings and like, we're going to get those Christians in line? Yeah, how weak. The little manipulators, from kindergarten, they have climbed into the power structures and they're going to start telling you what to do. And I want you to know, how does all this tie in with Christians? Well, like number one, God gives the government authority to do good. You, as a citizen, give the authority to the government to do good. But anytime the government does evil or thinks it has a right to do evil, or anybody who believes that the government has a right to do evil is under delusion. That is not reality. That is not truth. The government only has the freedom to do good and is to be held accountable for such. Now, if we step back and we just, become mamby-pamby, passive people, these evil authoritarians are going to run over the country, flat out. It's just the way it's going to be. And don't you for one second think that you are somebody because you've listened all the way to the end of this podcast and you have got more information now and you're doing your due diligence. No, not until you stand up. Not until we begin to tell people, no, this is not the way things are going to be, will we have regained our territory as true men.